Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. So, it seems as though Sarah is back. She remembers Xander, um, she remembers Maggie, she sounds like herself, her personality is there. So everyone is like, this is good news and everything like that. Maggie leaves to talk to Anna because, at this point, Anna's trial is going to be the next day, and Anna's already, quote unquote, going to go on the lam. Um, so she's about to sit there and leave out the door, and Tony's like, you can't, you just going to just leave without saying goodbye to me? Anyway, she opens up the door, and Maggie's there. And Maggie's like, listen, I dropped the charges, and to be honest, if it wasn't for Gwen switching the drugs around, we would already got her back. So, she's like, hey, listen, I dropped the charges, everything's all good. Um, Now, Anna does apologize. She does apologize because she realized what she did was reckless. Regardless if the drug worked or not, they didn't know that at the time, and she just did it anyway. Out of, well, selfishness. Okay? Out of selfishness, out of impulsiveness. She didn't really care what might have happened to Sarah, what could have been the side effects. She just did it and said, well, hope for the best, and, this isn't my problem anymore. That's the way she was snippy looking at it. But she did own up to it. She did apologize for that. Um, so she left, and at some point she came back. Xander left to talk to Gwen. Now, before he got a chance to talk to Gwen, Ava was there, and Ava was like, listen, let me get you out. You were my friend. I did what I had to do, but, I don't feel good about it. So this is my way of sitting there helping you out. And at first, Gwen is like, nah, you could just sit there and kick rocks. I'm like, what? Are you serious? And she didn't sit there and give her an immediate yes. I'm like, sweetheart, you do realize you're going to prison, right? Like jail, like real jail, not hanging out with Bonnie and everything like that. I mean like actual real jail. Um, but Dave was like, listen, I have a number, give me a call, clock is ticking. Now, at this point, she's thinking about doing it. I know she's thinking about doing it. Jack comes in there. Jack is like, long story short, I can't quit you. You're my daughter, and you had a rough childhood, and it led you to do some bad things, and you're part of my DNA. Now, the part that really kind of blew me was when he was like, well, you had a rough childhood, and you didn't really have a good life, and I'm like, I'm sorry, sweetheart. It almost sounded like you're making excuses for her rotten behavior, what she did now. You know, everyone has a lot of people have bad childhoods. But at some point you have to start accepting it and moving forward and not using that as an excuse to do whatever the hell you want to anyone you want. Um so yeah, he's just like, I'm gonna sit there, I'm gonna stand by you, my daughter. And he also said that he got Justin to sit there and represent her. With everything that's looking out, the way Justin's looking at it, she's going to get 5 years. Um, as opposed, and that's if she, that's assuming that she pleads guilty. She pleads guilty, she accepts the charges, she gets 5 years. If she doesn't, she's going to get a hell of a lot more. And Jack is like, listen, this is the best deal in the circumstances. Now he does sit there and say something along the lines of, if you make better choices and you make right choices moving forward, we can try to work on something. We'll see what happens. But he's like, he'll stand by her um, as far as the hearing and everything like that is concerned. So he leaves, he gives her a number, and more or less, he's also sitting there saying clock is ticking. Um, Now Ava does call, Gwen does call Ava. And I'm sitting there like, so you're gonna take that deal, right? You gonna take that deal, right? That's 5 years right there. You gonna take that deal? Hell, when Ava answered the phone, she was like, she was sitting there thinking, she's gonna take her up on the offer. But Gwen actually turns it down. She turns it down. She's like, listen, I gotta sit there and start paying for some of the stuff I did. I gotta start making better choices, like my dad said. And he does tell her, like, yeah, I'm getting 5 years, but I gotta start somewhere. Um, she did thank Ava for her clarity as far as um even offering her that deal, because the old Gwen would have took that deal in a heartbeat, no questions asked. And that's what I was there thinking she was gonna do. But she's trying to be a better person, and so she decided to take the deal. Um, I mean, she decided to go with her dad's advice and um, go from there. Now, granted, not that long ago, she wasn't there making a slight boo boo as far as when she was with Ava. And she's like, "Oh, you ruined my life," and yada yada yada. I'm like, "Boo, come on." But she realized when she talked to Xander that she talked about her all her good memories with Xander, how they met, and everything like that. And she went through memory lane with him. Then she was like, she realized all the terrible things that she did, and this prompted her to call Ava and not accept the deal. Um, but she realized that she did some real bad stuff, like really bad stuff, and she got to start somewhere other than keep doing what she's doing, because it already ended her up in prison, and it ruined so many lives. I think that the crazy thing is that if Jack didn't come in there and say he was going to stand by her after all the crap that she's done, she would have made that choice. She would have made that choice to run. Um, so I don't, I feel like this is personal growth, but this is personal growth because of her dad not giving up on her. Um, the sad thing is that if Gwen would have took the offer, went on the on the run, Jack would have kind of blamed himself. He would have been like, I should have stood by her. I should have offered, to stand by her and not give up on her. Jack's the type of person that'll sit there and blame everything on himself. If the slightest bad thing happens to one of his daughters, that's just who he is. Um, so I find it kind of interesting. Um, I'm wondering, is this going to be the end of Gwen's character? Because you know, this is, again, this is what I said on my GH review. I was like, listen, with Harmony, she only has three choices: jail, death, or on the run. That is it. And that was the same thing that I felt for Gwen. I was like, yo, you only got three options: death, jail, or on the run. And at first, when Ava came and, was like, yo, listen, I'm gonna bust you out, I was like, okay, cool. So we're gonna choose on the run. All right, cool. What? They didn't choose that. So I'm assuming at this point that this is going to be the last few episodes that we see of Gwen. So yeah, now when Xander does come back, Xander comes back, and I'm sitting there thinking, I was like, bro, at some point you're gonna have to sit there and tell her, you have to sit there and tell Sarah about the whole, marrying Gwen and breaking up with her and having her to be one that put you in this situation in the first place. But he doesn't bring it up. They're also sitting there waiting for Kayla to come back with Tess. Now towards the end of the episode, in the beginning, it's like, all right, cool, we got Sarah back and it's all good. It's like, all right, fine, we're gonna move on and everything like that. And it was like, nope, there's a twist. Sarah was sitting there asking Xander, where's her baby? So yeah, they got Sarah back, but they got like pre-Sarah before, you know, like during the baby storyline. We got that Sarah. So yeah. Now, of course, after Maggie left, once again, and apologized for putting everyone all through this, including really coming at Tony, for being, saying she was being all selfish and self-centered. Well, selfish and self-centered is sort of the same thing. But just the way she was sitting there acting. She wanted to sit there and take some responsibility for how she um went about it with the whole Sarah thing while she was, thinking that she was Renee. And I sat there and I was like, Tony, you should probably apologize too. I don't remember if he did or not, but I'm pretty sure he should be apologizing too, because the way that he was acting during this whole thing didn't make it easy on her. I know he was there trying to help and everything like that, but living there, like living at the marriage place, I felt like that. Oh no, no, living there at with Sarah and Maggie's place or whatever, I felt like that was going a little bit too far. So I felt like he, at the very least, should have probably apologized a little bit for the way he was handling things. But anyway, they decided to go to the Mara crypt, so they can sit there and properly pay their respects to Renee. They both do. Anna says her piece. I feel like there's a lot of personal growth for Anna. I mean, especially when I'm sitting there thinking, because after I listened to how she was giving her condolences to Renee for having her life cut so short, and even though they were on good terms, she didn't deserve that. Also all that personal growth within that one scene. And it made me sit there and think about made me think about the time with the Beyond Salem storyline when, John was like, we needed that item. I was like, remember what it was. And Anna was like, no, I got to sit there and give it to my son in law so this way they can save their marriage. Even though he needed it for important, like police kind of, business and stuff like that, she decided to do it. She decided to sit there and outbid them anyway because she was thinking about herself. So, it's one of those things where it's like, wow, it was actually kind of nice to sit there and see her not be so much of a selfish dingbat. I was like, I really don't have anything negative to say about her. So that's something. Now afterwards, they're they're talking to each other and they realize there's a pacifier. They come to the conclusion that it's Sierra's baby's pacifier and that Allie was there, and now they're sitting there wondering where Allie is going to be next. I feel like that's about it. And again, I feel like this might be the end of Gwen's character. I mean, there was a lot of major growth within this character throughout this episode. Even wishing Xander, wishing him a happiness on him and Sarah and everything like that, and apologizing for what he did. Um, all of it, realizing that she was being desperate for her father's attention, and I don't know if she said it or not, but definitely being desperate enough to hold on to Xander's attention. Just all around personal growth. But I feel like with that being said, what is more for the character to do? I mean, granted, you can still have her on the show, but like, I guess maybe for me, I feel like part of her appeal, and I don't know if it really appealed to me, but it appealed to a lot of other people, was that she was a bad girl. And she was a take no prisoners. I got to do whatever I got to do, quote unquote. What did she say? A girl's got to do what a girl's got to do. But it seems like she lost that mentality, which is part of her appeal. So now it's just like, all right, like I said, they can go up with the character, but I feel like in a lot of ways they probably done wrote Gwen into a character, into a corner where they gotta send her to jail. I mean, hell, at the very least, with 5 year sentences, they're up for parole after 2 years. So that still means that she got to serve 2 years in jail. And with these shows, they don't, these soap operas, and this and general, whatever, they don't usually show people, once they go to jail. Like, not really, unless they're gonna get out or they serve some sort of short-lived purpose, supporting role or whatever. Anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video.